Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Marsh coming at you over the interwaves with another StarCraft 2 cast. This one sent in by members of the audience. For the audience of the community, the thingy. Somebody sent this to castit at reddit.com and I'm casting it. Maybe this guy, maybe this guy. I don't want to tell because people tend to, do their winning games. I don't want to spoil it for you. Anyway, over on this side, playing for Hosibi, it's Mimi. Her opponent, because with Mimi, I'm going to assume you buck the trend and are in fact female. It's Toast. French Toast. Alright, cool. So if you want to get cast by me, then you can send your replays to marshgaming@gmail.com, but you could also, as one of these two players did, send your replays to castit.reddit.com. Make your own thread, link to wherever you uploaded your replay, and myself or other members of the community. I saw Oddveta posting his replays or his casts in threads just now. So if you're bored of this voice, you want a different one, post it there and maybe he will get down and cast it for you. All right, so we have very similar builds so far. Wait. Factory versus no. Command center first. So, Toast has the option of going just a little bit more aggressive than his opponent, and Mimi is just going to have to survive it. Now, the first Reaper should be met by the first Reaper on the side of Mimi. Mimi is actually going to go out and scout first. Now, Reaper versus Reaper wars can be terribly exciting, or they can be very much nothing much. Looks like Toast doesn't trust his opponent. Going to scout just a little bit, see if there's any cheeky shenanigans coming up there. And that was a fairly similarly timed shot. And Mimi gets the first couple of shots off. Does put that in place, but Mimi doesn't jump up. Decides, you know what, you could have a second one waiting up there. And scouts everything. Sees the starport, sees the factory. They go like, alright. Cool. Oh, and now going up against two Reapers, but Reapers tend to have the same speed as Reapers. Let's see, 5.25, and look at that, 5.25, which means that the Reaper of Mimi can get away. With this SCV, she sees the move out of those two Reapers and the Cyclone. Now, the Cyclone got a very thorough reworking in the last patch, so if you're not familiar with this one, it used to target ground and air, but now it just does ground with the standard and can use the lock-on ability for targeting air. And it no longer does shit tons plus 500 damage, but only 160. This is a fairly relevant change. Although, oddly enough, it's despite doing less than a shit ton plus 500 damage, it's gotten a little bit more popular in certain areas of play. But both of these players just going for... No, actually, Mimi's getting a second one. And... Oh, no. Toast also has a second one. So, just going for two. Let's see if Mimi's going to get a third one. No, doesn't appear to. He's going to get a third. Wow, that's... Alright. Cool. Feels confident she can hold off the aggression by Toast. Did see that starport, may have seen, because there was already a tech lab going on there, so may expect this, but if she does, well, it hasn't built an engineering bay, so gambling that there will be, if there are Banshees. Who was that? Who's scanning? That there is no cloak, and distracting Mimi as he moves in and gets one. Oh, no. Double pronged attack, and Mimi is not buying it. Staying in place to make sure that the very much a bigger force that can do a fair bit of damage at the front does not sneak into her mineral line and just absolutely murders her. In the meantime, this Banshee got 4 kills and is feeling quite comfortable. 5 now. This must be an engineering bay. No, it's a bunker. Alright. So this Banshee gets back with work done. 6 units killed, and those are all SCVs, so we're on 37 to 32. And a 3rd command center, which was fully scouted. So the economy of Mimi, not so much of a problem. Yep, salvages that bunker and going to go in an engineering bay, because where there is 1 Banshee, there can be more. And to be perfectly honest, putting something in here just to make sure that a whole bunch of Marines stim in there with a medevac overhead and just murder everything, that's not a bad idea either. So Mimi now moves on forward with her own force, and that Reaper does scout the Cyclones, and now we see the siege tanks, and we see what 3 Cyclones still do to a siege tank. Does lose two for that exchange, but I'm gonna have to go into like actually figuring out how much both of those cost in both minerals, gas, and possibly time at the factory to see if that was worth it. But at least knows that his opponent is building tanks and should take that into consideration as such. 3rd base in place. May transfer a couple of these. Nope, not so much. Make sure that she keeps the Zelnaga tower, by the way. Not so keen on keeping this one. Both of these, of course, keep blind spots here, so your opponent can't fly past it. And if you're playing a Terran, your opponent really should be doing that, because that is one of the strong points of Terran. But very good of Mimi to make sure that she sees anything that moves out over here that would be, you know, terribly hard and difficult to deal with. Alright, so Stim coming on down for Mimi. No Stim started. Is that finished? It's already finished for Toast. And we do have an engineering bay down for Mimi, but she hasn't started any upgrades yet. Not doing anything. And if you saw that Banshee leaving, doesn't have any vision there. Toast confirming that there is no 3rd base, and he's going to get in place to shell away at that natural mineral line. I don't know if shelling is the correct word for a Banshee, because there's no turrets there. Alright. Moves into position, make sure that this one doesn't get there, and there's that Banshee. There's that Banshee. That is 1 SCV, and no, we get the siege up here, we get the siege up there. But Toast feels comfortable pulling on back there because he's got a Banshee right here doing all the damage he really needs. Still no cloak, so should get taken out. Yep, there you go. That was... I think that was single-handedly 16 SCVs. Does now see this base, but gives Mimi the time to get into position, or at least with the Marines that she wants, because all the tanks are not there yet. Tanks sieging on the side of Toad, but that doesn't matter, because if they're sieging, that means they're not shelling, and that means the superior number of Marines on the side of Mimi do get to stim forward, taking out the Marines of Toast, and that leaves the tanks undefended and eventually taken out. 40 to 49, so yeah, trading evenly. Mimi going up for the double upgrades right there, whereas Toast only has the 1 engineering bay, so it's gonna have to just, you know, build 1 at a time. Is there an armory down for either of these players? Nope. No, there is not. And as I say that, there she starts 1. More medevacs, more Vikings on the side of Toast, so going to try and get some air control there. There's that 3rd base in place, but Mimi's building a 4th as well. Lots of scans being used on both sides. And a 2nd factory, trying to keep ahead in those tank numbers. Right now 4 to 2, but there's only 1 factory here, I do believe, yes. And reclaim the 2nd watchtower. Oh, this Marine making sure that what I mentioned just now of slipping by the watchtowers, which Toast doesn't have, just, you know, anything that moves has to go by one of these two Marines, and should give him enough heads up to reposition those tanks in a defensive position right there. Is he reacting? Is that going to be on time? Nope. That is, nope. Oh, both tanks are still sieging up, but Mimi does manage to take a couple of the tanks out. That is a whole bunch of Marines already taken down, and the tanks, and now we have a whole bunch of Marines and tanks left. There's no air support left on the side of Mimi. That doesn't matter because there is no forces on the ground on account of Toast to really deal with that, and that is taking out a lot of SCVs right there. With the Vikings on the ground, are going to try and make a go of it, and this is where that extra mechanical damage versus tanks comes into play. Is going to have to land on these again with 2 and 12 hit points. Come on, land on there. Yep, gone. Or going to do it with Marines. One shot, and there you go. Alright, that was a nice push by Mimi and took down 16 SCVs. But only 8 workers ahead. Only 8 workers ahead, so she's been slipping a little bit on her map. Well, to be perfectly honest, she's exactly where she wants to be. Maybe you want to go up to 74, but 69 workers, just fine. Did slip up a bit in the macro because she was floating 1,000 minerals there. And Toast is going to have to relocate to this base if he wants to fully optimize his orbital command, because this is not providing nearly as much income as he wants. Mimi, on the other hand, has transferred to that 4th base, may want to do that again. And you're going to try and clear that debris. Wait, did that debris move? That debris used to be down here, right? Huh. Alright, moving out to that possible 4th base location, but Toast has the Zelnaga the watchtower, so sees all of that happening and allows him to get into position. Those Vikings still making sure that those medevacs aren't free to just heal and heal and heal and heal and heal and heal. 2-2 up for both players means that both wait a little bit between 1-1 and starting that up, or at least Mimi a little bit more. And a sensor tower right there, making sure that nothing's coming over that flank. Toll's very good about retaking that Zelnaga tower, and he may want to take his Marines out. Nope, fine. Getting into a nice position, getting a couple of free shots. That is, you can see where it can go. So neither side of the tanks can hit the other. There we see the low siege lines. So Mimi can't really move into this side, and conversely Toast can't move in there either, but there's nothing here. Well, no, there's a whole bunch of backups for that. Mimi does split off a bunch of Marines to deal with that, but Toast is going to be in position, and once again, due to that Marine right there, knows completely what's happening there. Now you're going to sting your Marines into that in range of a siege tank, which is not going to be the best of ideas, but enough of Marines to maintain here. And now you get into that mineral line, get into the mineral line, or, you know, stay there and wait for the reinforcement of Toast to come and shoot you. That's cool. If you wanna do that, that's cool. It's fine. Alright, still sort of stalemated here. Can't really do anything. Moving out a little bit to the right. Would only be in range of two siege tank. This is a little bit too far. No, would have to probably get shelled by 3 if you want to take out this horrible command. And gets into position right there. Nope. Takes 1 shot of tanks. Takes 2 shots of tanks. And those are very clumped up, and Toast moves on in with a whole bunch of Marines. Does take out that command center. Does Mimi, but the Toast collapses on in there, cleans up the entire army, including resetting most of that tank out. No, he doesn't. There's still enough tanks here. Oh, if those were a little bit further along, those would have been very helpful. There's a whole bunch of Marines right here. Oh, are you just gonna move in there? Because he has no Marines. You can just pick that up and drop that there if you want. He's got 4 Marines. Mimi very smartly does decide to pull back. She's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases of when 1, well, 2, 3 are mineable, whereas her opponent is on this base and whatever passes for income here. So yeah, pull back to a defensive position and make sure that your superior income can come through in production. And now we have a whole bunch of siege tanks coming on in to the non-siege tanks of Toast, but they all siege up in a clump and didn't manage to take out those tanks before they sieged up, and in this position they're quite tricky to deal with. Oh. No, your opponent has his El Naga tower, so despite the fact that he doesn't have the air superiority of those Vikings, can still see you. 2-2 right there, 3-3 going on for Mimi, but only the attack upgrade going on for Toast, and Toast is going to try and outflank his opponent, and there is nothing that Mimi can really do with it. Toast can just come in here, snipe this, and move on back there over there. Oh, but the reinforcement get cut off by Mimi, who dedicates a little group of units to make sure that that doesn't leave, and can't really do anything against this. There's too many tanks. I mean, moving into 8 tanks, I mean, tanks now do a lot of damage. If you're a Marine, if you're squishy like that, you can't really do anything against there. So there goes the first command center by Mimi, burning on down there. And Toast gets a little bit of a revenge for that one here. And he's still not in position to deal with this, so Toast once again manages to move in there, gets the 2 tanks that were defending it, and sieges up into a very, very nice position right there. Has the approach over here, has the approach over there, and pushes that command center down. Is going to go down once again, and now Mimi also, all that's left is this income. So Toast putting himself back on economic even footing, being ahead with the army count by quite a bit. Now it's only in upgrades that Mimi really has tech. And what are you guys doing? SCVs don't do really well against these guys. That's not the best way. Alright, Mimi or Toast moving on in there, and Mimi not in a position to deal with it. May set up a siege line here, but there's not a lot of tanks, to be honest. And yeah, you don't really want to deal with these Vikings either. Oh, forced to come and defend on this side as well, so he's being pincered. He's moved in over there. Let's see if he can get absolutely scorched by those siege tanks, but nope, left side does get cleared up. But that leaves his tanks undefended here, and siege mode does still have that dead zone, and that means those Marines can unload just fine, take out these siege tanks, and siege up in a nice place. Once again, these Marines, a little bit of hating life as they do exit the barracks, and with the boys cold, everything tries to collapse on top of Toast the tanks. And no, despite getting into position, it would appear that all the Marines have died. And GG. If you enjoyed this video, press that like button. If you'd like to see more of me, subscribe.